For nearly 4 decades, the Royal Australian Air Force relied on its fleet of F-18A classic Hornets as the backbone of its air combat capability. These versatile fighter jets, acquired between 1985 and 1990, served with distinction in conflicts across the globe, from Iraq to the skies above ISIS-controlled territories. By December 2021, however, the Royal Australian Air Force officially retired its 75 classic Hornets, replacing them with the advanced Lockheed Martin F-35A Lightning II. The retirement marked the end of an era, but the story of these aircraft is far from over. As of June 2025, the fate of Australia's retired Hornets remains a mix of international sales, museum preservation, failed deals, and uncertain storage arrangements, with debates over their disposal reflecting broader strategic and logistical challenges. The F-18A Hornets were a cornerstone of Australia's defence strategy, with 57 single-seat F-18As and 18 two-seat F-18Bs delivered to the RAF in the late 1980s. Over their service life, they logged an impressive 408,000 flying hours, showcasing their durability and versatility. The Hornets played critical roles in major operations, including Operation Slipper in 2001 to 2002, where they were deployed from Diego Garcia, Operation Falconer in 2003 during the Iraq War, and Operation Okra from 2015 to 2017, targeting ISIS in Iraq and Syria. Their reliability and combat effectiveness made them a symbol of Australia's air power, operating from bases like Williamtown and Tyndall. However, as technology advanced and the F-35A promised stealth and superior capabilities, the RF began phasing out the classic Hornets, with the final flight occurring on November 29, 2021, marked by a ceremony at RF Base Williamtown. The retirement of the Hornets posed a significant question: what to do with 75 aging but still valuable airframes? The Australian Department of Defence pursued multiple avenues to manage the fleet's disposal, balancing strategic, financial, and historical considerations. One of the most prominent outcomes was the sale of 25 Hornets to Canada. In 2017, Canada, facing delays in its own fighter replacement program, sought to bolster its aging CF-18 fleet. Australia agreed to transfer 18 operational Hornets and 7 for spare parts, with the deal finalized by early 2019. By May 2023, 20 aircraft had been delivered to the Royal Canadian Air Force, providing a temporary boost to Canada's Air Force as it transitions to a future fighter platform. This sale not only extended the operational life of these Hornets, but also strengthened defense ties between Australia and Canada, reflecting a pragmatic approach to repurposing the fleet. Beyond international sales, Australia prioritized preserving the Hornets' legacy for future generations. 8 aircraft were selected for display in museums and RAF bases across the country. Boeing Defence Australia was tasked with refurbishing these Hornets, a process that involved removing sensitive equipment, software, and hazardous materials to ensure they were safe for public exhibition. These aircraft now reside in institutions like the Australian War Memorial in Canberra and the Aviation Heritage Museum of Western Australia, where they serve as tangible reminders of the RAF's storied history. The refurbishment process was meticulous, ensuring the aircraft retained their iconic appearance while complying with safety and regulatory standards. For many Australians, these preserved Hornets are a source of national pride, symbolizing the technological and operational prowess of the RAF during the jet's service life. However, not all disposal efforts were successful. In 2020, Australia struck a deal with Raven Aerospace, a US-based company formerly known as Air USA, to sell 46 Hornets for use in aggressor training for the US military. This contract aimed to repurpose the aircraft for simulated combat exercises, leveraging their agility and combat-proven design. Unfortunately, the deal fell apart, lapsing in December 2023 without a single aircraft transferred. The collapse of the agreement left the fate of these 46 Hornets uncertain, raising questions about the Department of Defense's disposal strategy. The failure was particularly frustrating given the potential revenue and strategic benefits of the sale, which could have supported Australia's defense budget or fostered closer ties with the US military. Perhaps the most intriguing chapter in the Hornets' post-retirement story was the possibility of transferring them to Ukraine. In 2023, amid Ukraine's ongoing defense against Russia, discussions emerged about donating 41 retired Hornets to bolster Kiev's air force. The proposal involved coordination between Australia, the United States, and Ukraine, with the US reportedly open to facilitating the transfer. However, Ukraine ultimately declined the offer, citing logistical challenges. Integrating a new aircraft type like the F-18 would have required extensive training, maintenance infrastructure, and spare parts, which Ukraine deemed impractical given its focus on incorporating F-16s and Mirage 2005s. Reports also highlighted the poor condition of the Hornets stored in Guam, where exposure to harsh environmental conditions had caused significant deterioration. This decision underscored the complexities of transferring aging military hardware to active conflict zones, particularly when airframes have been neglected in storage. The storage of the remaining Hornets has itself become a point of contention. Of the original 75 aircraft, 4 were lost in crashes, 25 were sold to Canada, and 8 were preserved for museums, leaving approximately 38 airframes unaccounted for. Many of these are believed to be stored at Andersen Air Force Base in Guam, where they have been exposed to the elements, leading to rust and structural degradation. Defense analysts, such as Malcolm Davis from the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, have criticized the decision to store the aircraft in such conditions, arguing it represents a missed opportunity to either sell them earlier or donate them to allies like Ukraine when they were still airworthy. The Department of Defense has remained tight-lipped about its plans, citing commercial confidentiality, but speculation persists that the remaining Hornets may be scrapped or buried in landfills, similar to the RAF's F-111 fleet. Such an outcome would be controversial, given the historical and potential operational value of the aircraft. While the classic Hornets have been retired, the RF continues to operate 24 F-A-18F Super Hornets and 12 EA-18G Growlers, which are distinct from the classic fleet and slated to remain in service until at least the mid-2030s. A $2 billion sustainment deal with Boeing ensures these aircraft will continue to complement the F-35A, maintaining Australia's air combat capabilities. The Super Hornets and Growlers, with their advanced avionics and electronic warfare capabilities, represent a bridge between the classic Hornet era and the future of the RAF, ensuring no capability gap exists post-retirement. The fate of Australia's F-A-18 Classic Hornets reflects the broader challenges of managing military assets after their operational life. The successful sale to Canada and the preservation of aircraft in museums highlight proactive efforts to repurpose and honor the fleet's legacy. However, the failed Raven deal and the deteriorating condition of stored aircraft in Guam point to missed opportunities and strategic missteps. The aborted transfer to Ukraine further illustrates the logistical and political complexities of repurposing military hardware for modern conflicts. As of June 2025, the Australian Department of Defense has yet to clarify its plans for the remaining Hornets, leaving their future uncertain. Whether they are sold, scrapped, or preserved, the story of the F-A-18 Hornets underscores the delicate balance between practicality, legacy, and strategic foresight in military asset management.